Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host Matt Marrero along with your other host
Anthony Sinandris.
And what the fuck? What is this?
Let's just set the tone right up front.
We really should. So today we're doing Fantastic Four, or as it's also been known as, what is it? How is it spelled?
Fan4stic.
Yeah. Thank you, Fan4stic. It sounds like a movie that really because here's the theme that I want to present today. I didn't get to tell you this before the show. Was this movie written and directed by Dr. Doom? It feels like this because was Doom the villain? Yes, but he was really nice about it. No, let's be honest. Like, we had evil government agencies, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had Doom being all about peace and love and let's not get the NSA in our business kind of thing going on there. And I'm like, This feels like a Doom sympathizer wrote the movie. Doesn't it?
I mean, a bit. It was pretty much just like Doom made this movie. The best way for Doom to attack the Fantastic Four is to make slander movie promoting Doom.
That's why calling it the Fan4stic actually sounds like something that would come out in Latveria, like the Fantastic Four dub. The Latverian dub, just everyone is dubbed over, and it's just, oh, we will fight you, but really we love you because praise Doom, every line. But seriously though, good God. Okay, so This movie, as many of you know, we don't really need to do the whole when this movie came out because it came out in 2015, right? Just last year. We're doing this in 2016 live, right? Just last year, and I disagree with anyone saying this is the worst movie ever, like as a film. I disagree.
Yeah.
But this is definitely the worst Fantastic Four ever.
Okay.
This is definitely one of the worst superhero adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, I want to say I don't understand why it was made, but of course we know why. Because they had to keep the rights.
Exactly.
But it's just so interesting how, you have to keep the rights no matter what. But it's so interesting that you didn't think, they didn't think, oh, but we have to go out with a bang when doing it. It was just, oh, no, we have to keep these rights, whatever. I mean, especially when, if this came out in 2005, I'd understand, right? Because 2005, way before we had, like, Iron Man and the Avengers on the big screen. So nothing to really compare it to. But when you have to compare this to something like the Marvel Universe, and that these Hollywood executives were comparing and were trying to make something like it, it is interesting that this is what they thought was the formula.
I don't really think they were thinking. I think they were just like, well, we need the rights. This guy did Chronicle pretty good. Let's just see what happens.
Right, but it wasn't the same guy that did Chronicle because it was at first, but wasn't he replaced, or did they replace him with the guy that did Chronicle?
He wasn't replaced at all. They just replaced his script.
Oh, they replaced the script. Okay, all right.
Yeah, he was still there, but it was pretty much just like your contract, you're obligated to be here. So just stay and we'll take over.
Right, so then, yes. So, and also, of course, reshoots, which usually don't, it's funny, I don't think we've ever heard of a reshoot that went well.
I'm trying to think, but I think they're all pretty much
No,
guaranteed.
at least in the superhero land. Because, I mean, the last time I remember a reshoot was Thor Dark World.
Okay.
And I didn't hate Dark World, but it was,
It was Dark World.
Yeah, it was Dark World. So that's how I feel about reshoots, at least in the superhero universe, just superhero movies. I've never heard of, oh, no, we have to go in for reshoots. And it's like, great sign. I can't wait for all of your sequels. But, which, by the way, if anyone doesn't know, there is no sequel to this. So we're either, there might be some kind of chance that they may appear somewhere, right, as characters. Like the characters may appear somewhere. Not like there's any rumors, just like maybe, right? But as of right now, no sequel. And when does the contract run up? Like what? Another 7 years or something?
I would imagine so.
That's what it was, right? Every 7 years.
Yeah, so we have basically
make
7
a movie
years
by this date.
Yeah, we have 7 years to mentally get ready for the next one.
That's what I'm saying. In 7 years from now, they're either going to really have to, sit back and go, okay, we're not making another one. Because if they really try to sit there and make another one, I know it's their legal obligation. They can do whatever they want to, but my God, that's fucking stupid.
Mhm.
The fact that you can just wait 7 more years for this shit.
Mhm.
Right? I mean, this is so fucking terrible. And then 7 years from now, just be like, yeah, another. I know it's long enough for a wait, 7 years, but my God, this is something that will not really, because it's not like it's a 1990 movie, right? The 1990 movie, if you remember, right?
Mhm.
That was made on a TV budget, that was made just to keep the rights together. It was not a 1990 movie. This movie came out in 2015, post-Avengers.
Mhm.
You would think it would be look, you and I heard about the original script. You haven't read it. I've read half of it, at least the description of the original script. And while it does seem a little bit clunky, right, I do think that it may have been a bit too much, and also Doom still kind of befell the whole, oh no, I'm covered in something. It's just instead of the green stuff, it's dark matter, right?
Mhm.
To be fair, not to be fair, to kind of sit there and go, but this could have potentially been a better movie, with hindsight at least, we could have had Galactus and Mole Man.
Mhm.
Now, I haven't read to the end. We don't know if, Galactus and Mole Man form a conga line. I don't know how poorly it goes. But just by having them exist, I think, is some great, Fantastic Four story elements, right, that we can incorporate in a 2 or a 3. But from what we heard actually happened was they took that script, they erased some stuff, some Galactus, and then they took the entire movie and they spread it out to basically take 1/3 of his script.
Mhm.
So what that means is that in the film, in the original script, apparently Latveria would have been introduced. And Latveria would have taken Doom. They would have been the ones to extract Doom, right? And then Doom would have killed some people in Latverian Parliament, and oh shit, Doom is now in charge. I wonder if they were thinking, we'll save that for the sequel. And now it's what sequel? You're fucked. So please, I've rambled on enough for right now. What do you think about this shit show of a film?
See, I think, to kind of go behind the scenes a bit more, I think they'd be smart to make the deal that Sony made with Marvel, where, listen, you can use the characters in your own movie, but we're still allowed to use them in our movies. So at least with them being in a Marvel movie, they're going to gain some traction, and maybe they'll be like, this worked, let's try something like this, and maybe they'll get some traction. But in regards
would you like
to
a new cast?
No, actually. That was one of the few things I was actually okay with the cast. I thought it was pretty good. I think they were doing the best they had with what they were given. But
that's how I feel too.
Yeah, I think the cast was fine. It's just they didn't have any good shit to work with.
Right, but the thing is that, okay, so we nuke Spider-Man in the sense that we don't use Garfield, but by doing that, you've essentially set yourself up for better non-canon, not canon to what was made before, Spider-Man movies. Yeah. Do you think the same could happen, though, if we had a new cast? Because I was thinking we could have a brand new cast because that can lead us into different, not like the first movie in this series of Fantastic Four films. Because, in my opinion, if we use the same cast, we're then saying what happened before was canon, and now we're going to have to live with more.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It sucks because I really like the cast. But I
didn't hate them, but I think they were used poorly, and because of that, they didn't impress me. But only because they were used poorly. Like I say this because of the fact that you look at some of the stuff that happened, the way the movie was cut up, even right. Just one scene when Johnny was talking to his dad in the car. I don't know why, but I sat there and I went, "Did they just speed this scene up?" because right in between the transition between "Don't worry, Dad," whatever, or like, okay, oh no, I'm not gonna wear a lab coat, right? Usually it's like, I'm not gonna wear a lab coat, but it was like, I'm not gonna wear a lab coat. And I sat there and I was like, wait, what? Like, go back and watch the delivery. I was sitting there going, did they speed this up? And then when we had some really bad ADR work, because when we, basically voiceover work after the movie was made, because when Reed said like, oh, goodbye, Victor, basically, right at that one scene when Victor was being a dick, the only time he was being a dick throughout the entire film, minus the death at the end. But even then, Doom would spin it as, oh no, this was the part when Hero come back and kill bad guy. Bad the American government. But anyway, so seriously, how the fuck is this not a Doom propaganda film?
Look how Doom suffered. Feel pity for Doom.
Seriously, this is a Doom propaganda film. Like, basically, I think the audience was supposed to be mad and kind of cry, like out of anger, like, damn you, American, for not killing your sister. Damn you! Or either that or the fact that he almost killed her was like slapstick comedy, like they're just slapping their knees, like, oh, that was so funny. He almost killed American sister infidel. Like, like that's how it came off as like Doom only want to kill. It was just, God, it was just really, by the way, I don't know what Laveria's accent really is. I think it's just anything that isn't. No, seriously, it's getting bad. I'm like, no, Latveria should sound like this, not like anything else.
Pretty much we wanted to sound like Sokovia, just not Sokovia.
Basic. But so looking at the way, like when he said like goodbye, I think he said we did it. That's the phrase. He said we did it. He walked off screen, Reed. So when he walked off screen, you hear we did it. It had to be dubbed over in post. But the way it was fit in there was so fucking awkward. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's getting to the point where it's just like I'll nitpick anything in this movie, but. Like, go back and rewatch it if you didn't notice. It's just really bad and it's off.
No, I noticed the same thing.
Okay, good, because I was like, I'm not the only one. For anyone saying, make better, maybe. Give us some money, we might be able to. But seriously, though, yeah, so you, as a Fantastic Four movie, though, well, how did you feel?
I thought it was terrible as a Fantastic Four movie.
Okay, why exactly?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just the whole thing to me. See, I don't know if this is partially because it probably is, but I knew the fact going in that it was by the guy that did Chronicle. So the whole time I'm thinking this is essentially Chronicle with a bigger budget, and it got to where I'm sitting there. I'm like, I know this is supposed to be Fantastic Four, but I don't want it to be Fantastic Four. Because you had texted me saying that you said I actually would like this movie if it wasn't a Fantastic Four, or you'd be okay with it at least. And my thing was that I was okay with the movie until the time skip, not like the little kid to teenage time skip, but when Reed was off doing Reed stuff in wherever the hell Reed was. Until then, I'm like, this is okay. It's not great. It's far from perfect, but it's tolerable. And I could live with it. And then I feel like after the time skip is when they pretty much went to the director and said, okay, you've done your stuff. We're going to just take over from here. And that's where it really fell apart for me. Not saying before that it was great by any means.
Yeah, I think my worst, like the scene that I hated, or the scenes that I hated the worst, are the scenes, even before the time skip, when they were in the government facility. Because, well, it makes sense. Like, I'm going to be honest, it makes sense. Like, okay, in my opinion, this movie it didn't feel like this movie didn't, quote-unquote, make sense in terms of, like, yes, now, mind you, there should have been more fucking security, I'll give them that, but also this wasn't a military operation, it was a military-funded operation. Still should have some security. But anyway, I understand the idea of, like, okay, these kids are essentially fucking monsters, like, demigods now. Let's put them in some kind of solitary. It's just the issue is that this is a fucking PG-13 Fantastic Four movie. I didn't take my kid to see Alien. Now, mind you, I don't have a kid. But if I had a kid, I would have been furious that I tried to take my kid to see PG-13 Fantastic Four, and I came out with PG-13 Alien. Because that's what it felt like at certain. I don't know why Alien exactly, but and yes, look, I'll be honest. We did have military with the Silver Surfer, and they were pretty shitty, right? But also the idea that he wasn't a hero at the time. We didn't know much about him.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't take the Fantastic Four, and they were like, let's fucking experiment on them and shit. Like, yes, everything was pretty normal. Like, it wasn't like, granted, it could have been a lot worse, obviously. It could have been like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they didn't try to cut up Reed or anything. It's like they understood, like, okay, this, you know, we're not going to go there.
Mm-hmm.
But just by having them in like shackles like that and Reed stretched out just felt really horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I sit there and I'm like, how are kids not going to have nightmares from this? And look, this is not a DC film, because I'll admit, certain DC films, not like Superman, but certain DC films, I understand the idea of like, oh no, let's have this be a bit more dark and brooding and maybe even potentially gory, because I look at DC as a whole and I look at them as just, you know, a bit different compared to, again, not Superman so much, but certain ones to be different than, you know, let's say, you know, something like Spider-Man, right, or Fantastic Four. And I think that might be the issue, is that, you know, people going into this, maybe they weren't looking at Avengers, maybe they weren't trying to emulate. They were like, no, we can be different. We can be like the Batman, the Nolan stuff. And it's like, nope, you fucked up, you know, because people did not enjoy it. Now, mind you, let's be honest, you know, we're not going to sit here and go, it was a complete flop, it didn't even make back its budget. No, it did.
Somehow.
Right? It made back its budget. But at the same time, you know, we talked about this with the second Fantastic Four movie. You know, even if you make past your budget, it, you know, nowadays, if you're not going to, let's say, $1 billion, or at least $500 million, you're not doing well. And granted, I'm assuming also because of the fact that there was such huge just negativity from all sides.
Yeah.
The amount of Razzies this thing won. Do you know how many it won?
Not off the top of my head, but I could imagine it's close to double digits.
So for those who don't know, the 36 Golden Raspberry Awards, the Razzies, right, which, you know, is for, if anyone doesn't know, they're for bad film. Like, they will, you know, they will say, oh, you won, and you're thinking, oh, I won an award for worst director. So, yeah, so in this film, it won worst director, worst prequel, remake, ripoff, or sequel, and worst picture.
Jesus.
And worst picture, the latter tied with 50 Shades of Grey. Also, it was nominated for worst screen combo and worst screenplay.
Well, then.
Yes. But anyway, looking at the budget, right? Budget was $120 million. It made $168 million. So, did it make over its budget? Yes. But, again, I think that if it was done well, if it was done, look, even if the budget was $250 million, right, with the original ideas intact, I think that introducing everything the way it was, I do think it could have made more than its budget. Like, I think it could have made $350 million with its original ideas intact. Even if it would have cost more, right? I don't know how, you know, again, I don't know how much it would have cost. I'm just giving out hypotheticals here. But I think that with what we mentioned thus far, with what I've read thus far, I do think it would have made more. I mean, we could have had Galactus and Mole Man, for fuck's sakes, you know? But instead, we have Doom stretched out. Now, here's the funny thing, too, right? I didn't actually notice it was, quote-unquote, stretched out. Like, if you didn't tell me it was stretched out, right, it wouldn't have felt like it was one-third of a script stretched. But it does feel like nothing was resolved. And it's weird how the second that Doom is, quote-unquote, neutralized, it's like, oh, and we're happy-go-lucky, right? Like, the tone of the film changed completely. You know, also having Ben be part of the military, like, here's the thing, right? He needed some military experience, but I think this is the problem with them being too young. I was okay with them being young and having a few flashbacks, a few flash forwards, time skips. But the problem is that when we had that time skip from when they were children, like elementary school children, to when they were in high school, I was like, okay, so then the next time skip is going to be 3 years from now. And it's like, oh, no, we're staying at 17, 18 for a bit. And I'm like, what? Oh, by the way, Another thing, too, that made me sit there and go, I don't know if you noticed this. I was like, wait, so we're not family-friendly right now. Are we real fucking... They tested everything on a fucking monkey. Now, the monkey was just fine. Thank God they knew. Again, they knew. We should probably not kill Bobo. But, like, just... Is it PG to have the monkey brain splatter? No, it is not. We really should not kill Bobo here. Okay, not kill him horrifically. We should not kill Bobo. Right? But, like, let's be real here, though. Like, the difference, like, look, yes, you look at something like the first Captain America film, and they may have mentioned, oh, we've tested this on other things, or, oh, nothing has survived. But at the same time, like, they didn't sit there and go, let's show a bunch of people or animals, get the super serum put into them, and then die in the process. Mm-hmm. Hell, even if it lived, like, even if they put the super serum into a monkey, and the monkey lived, and, like, Captain America now had a monkey sidekick instead of, you know, Bucky, I don't give a fuck. Don't test on animals in a family-friendly movie. I want everyone to sit there and just think of Cap and Monkey Bucky.
Honestly, I'm just thinking of the Winter Soldier movie with Monkey in place of
basically. Bucky. Oh no, it's just fucking in the Civil War trailer. The monkey took the shot. Everyone thinking about how he took the shot on fucking Iron Man. The monkey took the shot. Because that was my first thought when I fucking saw the trailer and just a fucking gunshot. I was like, he fucking took the shot. Just like the monkey, just, you know, literally it's just Cap screams Bucky, just it's like that's just the fucking response.
Oh God.
I thought you were my friend. I was. In the background.
Jesus.
But
snake Bucky, not here.
What? Yeah, not. Damn it, there's no gun. He just threw shit at his face. He took the shot. Can you imagine everyone just running in the fucking scene at the end of the trailer and just fucking Monkey Bucky monkey running with his paws on the fucking floor?
Oh God.
I'm done here. We're not talking about this. But all jokes aside, let's be real here, though. Even if the monkey survived, it still would have been horrifying to see a children's movie having testing on animals.
Oh, of course.
So, like, I don't know. Like, it sucks because, like, I'm not saying that the guy from Chronicle sucked. Well, I have not seen Chronicle. If this is how he would work on Chronicle, like, I actually kind of want to check out Chronicle. Mm-hmm. Right? But I feel like they don't, like, no one understood. Like, you know kids are going to go see this, right? Mm-hmm. Like, look, we watched it, right? We're adults. Yeah. We understand that. We get it. But at the same time, you know, Marvel shows that they can make a movie that everyone can enjoy, potentially, right? At least every demographic, you know, age group at the least. Age group can enjoy. So why was there thought, like, because look, if you're going to go for the hard R, I'm cool with that, actually. Like a little bit more blood and guts and just be like, look, because look, you saw what Deadpool did, right? Deadpool went for the hard R. They were like, look, kids should not be going to see this, and that's that. But if Deadpool was PG-13 and did half the shit, they couldn't do all of it, obviously, but did half the shit they did in the movie, in PG-13 Deadpool, I would have been like, guys, well, Deadpool isn't always for kids. This is a little bit too much for a PG-13, So I feel like just some of the stuff that they didn't think like, oh, that's right. Fantastic Four has been like the most family-friendly fucking team since forever. Like, even the last two, I feel, kept the integrity of the Fantastic Four as a family-friendly team intact.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so how do you feel about, in terms of, like, the whole family-friendly vibe that was potentially non-existent? How do you feel about that?
Pretty much what you said. I think it was non-existent. I think they kind of just decided, like you said earlier, they went for more of like a Nolan vibe, and I definitely think they did. I think that was mistake number, like, 1 out of all of them, I would say.
Yeah, out of a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just think that it wasn't necessary to go that dark, especially for Fantastic Four, who are generally known to be more of like a light-hearted part of the Marvel Universe.
Yes. Also, I have a question about Ben. I feel like you know a lot more about pre-Thing Ben than I do. Was he that scrawny?
Not at all.
Okay, so then that's another thing that kind of gets me. The idea that, look, I understand that he came from a rough neighborhood, or from a rough area, so therefore he's going to be, he's going to be Reed's, I'm your friend that isn't, like, I'm your friend, and I'm a little rougher and tougher, but, yada, yada. But, like, the way they did the transformation, it felt like it was supposed to be like Chris Evans' Cap. You know what I mean? Like, he's so small, but then he becomes big. It was like, but that's not how it is. Ben's always been the big, rough and tough guy.
Exactly.
So it was so strange seeing what looked like to me Reed being taller and larger than Ben.
Yeah, that was, like I said, I like the cast. It's that I was like one oversight I may have made.
No. Here's the thing. You can like the cast, I mean, there's nothing wrong with, I don't think there's anything wrong with this cast exactly, just the situation they were put in. I mean, you look at, let's say, like the Star Wars prequels, right? If you had to base some stuff in the prequels only on the actors, you would sit back and go, this Natalie Portman, one, that's one, right? Two, your second thing, oh my God, this fucking Liam Neeson, can he actually act in a role or something? Right? No, I could name some more, but the point is that I think out of everything, the point is, this Samuel L. Jackson fellow, what has he done? You know what I mean? Like, you sit back and you're like, maybe it's the direction, maybe it's the time that you have, the script that you have. All of these things really do come together and blend nicely where, you look at something like Repo of the Genetic Opera, a movie that I enjoy. I don't know if you've seen it, Anthony.
A little bit.
Okay. Have you seen Paris Hilton in it?
Yes.
Yeah. Here's he said yes, because Paris Hilton, someone that I do not enjoy as an actor, especially because it's very hard to use the phrase Paris Hilton and actor in the same sentence. The fact that she was able to shine in that film because she was used correctly. And that's what I'm saying. So using someone correctly, having the right type of script and direction really do help someone as an actor, actress, whatever it may be, kind of shine or just work. And I feel like this cast just didn't work, but not that they are a bad cast, just it did not work. Yeah, the chemistry wasn't completely there. Also the fact that, here's a funny thing too, right? I say this, I talk about the whole, not a Fantastic Four movie, it would have worked in certain ways. Why? Well, you look at, let's say, Reed and Sue. There was supposed to be some tension or something going on there. Same thing with Victor, but that was dropped. In a normal movie, it would be bad that it was dropped, but you wouldn't have thought, but there was actually something going on there. But because we know about comic book lore and the two movies before this one, we know, yes, because there's supposed to be a relationship there. Even something, but it literally turned into nothing. We have nothing to go with. The music was happy-go-lucky, but we literally had nothing to go with other than the fact that there's somewhat of a team now, I guess. They're the most reluctant team. If this was a relationship, like if this was a marriage, they would be getting a divorce. Like, they would be setting themselves up. If this was a marriage, it was just like, you know what? Yeah, whatever, let's just do this. They would be setting themselves up for a pretty big divorce.
And I forget exactly how it went, but how did they come up with the name again? Like, didn't someone say, this is fantastic, and we just, say that again?
Two things. That? One, I don't know who would take Thing. Two, actually, I really didn't. I think that was cute at the end. Because what happened was at the end, I think that was the only, nice, cute, Fantastic Four comic book part of the film. Because they're all standing there, being all this, that, la-di-da-di-da. And then Reed is just we're kind of something now, so I feel like we should have a name. And then Johnny's the flaming, what was it, the Human Torch and the Torchettes. And they're all like, just shut up. And then, something about, I forgot what led up to it exactly, but, Ben goes, I like the setup and everything, like us, it's fantastic.
There
and he's like,
go.
And Reed is like, say that one again? And he goes, what? I said, it was fantastic. And he goes, all right, let's do this. And then it cuts. That was the cutest thing out of this entire fucking movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was like the one bright spot for me in terms of the team dynamic.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't like, though, actually, Johnny, okay, so Chris Evans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chris Evans, as, his what's it called? His Johnny was friends with Ben for years because of how they set everything up. In this case, unless they talked to each other off screen and we didn't know about it, the two literally met on the day that they both were turned.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Johnny being like, yeah, and the thing that nobody wanted, it was like, fuck you, Johnny, you're a dick.
Seriously, yeah.
Like, as much as Chris Evans' Johnny was also a dick, let's not sit here and be like, yes, this Johnny was a dick and the other one was such a lovely, he went to church every Sunday. No, he would go to church to find women. Johnny was a dick. Let's all be real here. But the issue is that, both Johnnies. But the thing about the original Johnny is that they both, him and, Chiklis's Thing, had such a good, Chiklis's version of the Thing, I heard myself, him and Chiklis's Thing. No, but seriously, Michael Chiklis's version of the Thing, they both had some kind of camaraderie because, Reed had, he used to date, or at the very least, used to know very well, he used to date, Sue. So because of that, of course, Ben had been, Reed's friend for years. So it made sense. Yeah, they all knew each other. Johnny was the youngest of the group, so he might have even been like fucking 12 when he was making fun of Ben, so it kind of just kept on. So, it felt natural to have them be at each other's throats. But it's kind of like, hey, I kind of just met you, and you fucking ugly as shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, Johnny. Damn, Johnny. Because earlier in the movie, we saw that Johnny can be real nice. Like, he was only rude to Victor, and Victor was, like, an asshole, at least to Johnny. So Victor was like, he doesn't take orders properly. Yeah, to someone who says, you don't take orders properly. And then he walks up to Reed. He's like, what you need, man? Like he's really, Johnny's a nice guy. But,
not to the thing,
yeah, by the way, we haven't addressed the biggest thing that everyone talked about when this movie was, coming out. The idea that we had an African-American Johnny. Ooh, scary. Oh, no, because that was the only problem in this movie. Quotations on problem.
Yeah, I didn't care. I really didn't care.
I didn't give a fuck. Look, I got to be honest, right? I personally would not have cast an African-American Johnny. Why? I would have pushed really fucking hard to have more African-American heroes, either on the big screen, like just being adapted, like Static Shock, Miles Morales. Right? Now, I know that doesn't have to do with Fox necessarily, of course, but still, I would just push harder for African-American, or rather, any minority being represented better on the big screen, who is actually the character, or, right, the fact that we're looking at Civil War now, and sadly, just from the trailer, right, just from the trailer alone, looks like Rhodey dies. Why is that sad? Because of the fact that apparently, if Robert Downey Jr. leaves, then the character of Iron Man will be gone for a while. As if Rhodey, look, if Don Cheadle wants to leave, that's another story. Instead of Rhodey taking over for him, and he could have been taking over for him for a while now. No, we've needed RDJ. And heaven forbid we let an African-American character take on the role of Iron Man. Even though it's happened in the comics, and there's precedence there. But anyway, my point is that I would rather look to do something like that rather than making, the character of Johnny African-American. But we also have to, talk about the other side, and we can't let the idea go that at the time when these comic books were created, all minorities were not being represented well, first off, at all. Or if they were being represented, they were Tyrock.
Oh, God.
I.e., they weren't being represented well. They were Tyrock, or hell, even in the 90s. Remember, even in the 90s, you would think that we were a little bit better in the 90s. The Punisher became black.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Do you remember that? Did you forget about it? Or?
I actually forgot until you just said it.
Yeah. Now, mind you, they were trying to do it more of like, let's have the Punisher be in someone else's shoes, a white guy being in a minority's shoes and live the life of a minority and see how sometimes, let's say, the police might be a bit more abusive or something like that. And mind you, this isn't me talking. The Punisher, as a black man, was beaten up by cops.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was, for some reason, the Punisher had to speak in a different tone, and they actually had a writer there just for black speak.
Did they really?
Yes, they did.
I did not know this.
Yes, they did. I'll send you some links. So yeah, it was pretty So the point is that I do feel like you could easily have Johnny be this character. This actor be Johnny and have no problems whatsoever because at the time we didn't really have minorities represented well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so again, we really didn't care. There were so many people upset about it, and frankly, it was hilarious in a way how many people were that upset because, again, it's just from what we heard about every other part of, first off, there was no problem whatsoever. But even if you're going to try and go along with the fact that there's a quote-unquote problem, with every other part of the movie, this, from what we heard at the time, because the movie hadn't come out yet, it's like, this is your problem?
Exactly.
Like the actor for Reed is white. And look how he doesn't look like Reed. Like, really? Yeah, so, but looks-wise, for everyone else, what did you, because Johnny, again, looked like, Chris Evans, just African-American. So, I mean, the one thing I'll say is that both actors, really sad we didn't have long, flowy, blonde Johnny locks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know if we're calling them Johnny locks now, but, I'm actually really sad that he didn't have the hair either time, or any hair, really.
Mm-hmm.
So that was sad. But, so, he was just fine because, again, looked just like Chris Evans if that's what you're going for, right, if you're going for a Chris Evans approach. But in terms of Reed and Sue and Thing, do you think they looked good enough compared to their comic book counterparts?
I thought Sue was okay. Reed was
Sam.
in... What?
Sam.
For Sue?
Sue's okay.
Yeah.
She's all right.
Yeah. Reed, I thought, was, in the middle. Obviously, he doesn't look too much like Reed from the comics, but he's younger, so it's fine. Thing I'm torn on, because I think he looks really good. I think he could have used a pair of pants.
Yes, as Thing itself, I think Thing was done very well. Definitely more like the comic book counterpart, arguably, than the Orange was, even though both are technically correct. It just depends on the year you're trying to adapt.
Yeah.
Right?
I just think,
it's funny.
Yeah, I was going to say, film-wise, I think the newer version comes off a bit better. Something about, the original, well, not the original, the 2005 Thing, I liked him, but he looked too... I don't want to say fake, but I can't really think of a better word. Whereas this one, he just kind of looked like he blended in.
I was going to say that's why darker colors are not the new thing, but darker colors are usually preferred because they blend in better.
Yeah.
But, so we both like Thing. As you said, I definitely feel like he could have used pants. I mean, I don't understand why. Just why no pants? Why is that the new thing now? For Superman had pants, but it's no underwear. Why? Why does that make anyone think that you're taking, it's no, underwear makes you look at his crotch. False. He still has a crotch. This isn't like a comic book where you can just erase Henry Cavill's penis.
If you have less layers, it is more noticeable.
Yeah, it is less noticeable. Oh, no, less layers. Right, yes. Sorry, my brain flipped it. Yes, correct, yes. Also, when I was talking about the actress for Sue, when we said we meant more so as a comparison to her in the comics, not so much as looks, because in no way we're sitting here and be like, yeah, she don't look too good. No, she's a beautiful woman. I just don't know if she fits Sue necessarily. I think maybe I've seen her play some antagonists and not enough protagonists, so her look kind of does give off more like a I am the bad guy all along kind of feel.
Yeah.
or at least her acting style. Sorry, it's her presence. That's the thing. It's not necessarily her looks. It's her presence. Like, her presence doesn't necessarily come off as this kind of soft, warm, caring. Not that she isn't as a human being, just again, because I don't know her. But her acting style, her presence in this film was very much like standoffish. You know,
there was that scene in the library where Reed was just like, "Here we are," and she's like, "Yep, here you are." I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess, all right."
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Now, not a bad performance on her end, because if that's what she was told to do, then fine. I just am not a fan of that I'm not a fan of that interpretation of Sue, I guess. So a lot of things in this movie, again, interpretation, style, not the biggest fan of. If we're going for, we're a family. Like, literally, had this series gone on, it would have been like, you know, it would have been like, Sue, are you okay? Oh, I woke up from that coma. I had the baby. What happened? We've been trapped in this room, Sue. We had to eat the baby. Like, that's the kind of fucking shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like Thing clapped and started a fire. Like, shit like that would have been like, we sorry, Sue, but we had to do it.
There was no other way.
Wait, but why did he clap when Johnny could have started the fire? Johnny's dead.
What the fuck?
Like, everything, like, it was literally just, like, I'm sorry, like, that's the fucking, like, I feel like that's where, because, again, this franchise, like, I don't know if they were thinking, oh, no, we got all the dark and gritty stuff out of the way. Now, that's just, that has to be how you know, like, every first movie is going to be like that. It's the origin, but then later on it's going to be fun and cute. It's a problem when you think that you can just write a series and go, don't worry, it'll be better later. Like, what do you take us for, stupid? Because we might be idiots, but we're not stupid. No, but seriously though, it is really, because look, I understand trying to write something with a trilogy in mind. That's cool, right? But at the same time, I really do think it's okay to do that. You know, write something with trilogy in mind. But don't sit there and be like, oh no, don't worry, we'll get to that later. And later isn't in a show. Later is in the sequel. Like, fuck that. But so jumping back, what?
Never mind.
Oh, you have a question for me, please?
Yeah. Would you like a sequel? Like, if someone had said, "Listen, we're thinking about doing a sequel. We saw our mistakes. We're going to try to fix them." Would you want a sequel, or just go straight up reboot again?
I don't. It's funny. I would rather the rights just be reverted to Marvel immediately, even though contractually they can't. But my God, if there was a genie. If there was a genie. No, but seriously, I think that it is a lot better for the Spider-Man route. Now, I actually haven't seen Amazing Spider-Man 2, so I don't know I've heard from you how much of a clusterfuck that was.
Yeah.
Oh, God, you're on the edge of the seat. You're like, yes, where is this going? The point is that, you know, I'm not going to say this was Amazing Spider-Man 2 level, but I definitely don't want to see what the future has to hold for this continuity of Fantastic Four.
Okay.
Like, after seeing the first 2005 Fantastic Four film, I was actually sitting there going, look, I don't like what they've done with Doom. I don't like that he's not dead, though. I mean, he might not be dead here as well, but he seems pretty dead. He's not dead, though, so where are we going to go with this, right? There was kind of a bit of I guess, not hesitation. There was actually hope in a way. And then I saw Rise of the Silver Surfer, and I was like, look, well, I don't care about another one. When I heard about what they were going to do in the third, I was like, honestly, yeah, we could have had a third. I don't really see hope for this because it's still the same. Like, unless they got a brand new director, like you said, they fixed everything that they wanted to in the first one, but the first one still exists. Now, if they did the Ghost Rider thing, where they kind of rebooted-ish, they say, hey, some stuff didn't necessarily happen, then I think I'd appreciate it. Kind of, because, again, going along with the same cast, really getting to see them connect and work together, not having it be so dark and filtery. Filters aren't a problem, but the entire movie was dark and filtery. Like, you know, you can tell, it's funny, because we talk about, the whole DC thing and this, you can really tell that someone sat there and thought, I'm going to see what Snyder's doing, and I'm just going to do that. Like, seriously, like, think about that, right? Like, I feel like someone just bought the DVD to fucking Superman Man of Steel and just smelled the box. It's just like, oh, God, this is so fucking good.
John, what do you... I need to inhale the fumes. This is the process. This is what you signed up for.
Like, is this how you made Chronicle? No, but seriously though, again, nothing against Chronicle. I think that, from what I've seen from Chronicle, I actually really want to see more of it. I think that it had a great concept. I just think that this is the problem with, not with hiring indie directors or anything like that, because again, please hire more indie directors. I feel like it's good to give people a job, but it is a bit harder when, you don't know what direction you're going in. Because I feel like they didn't know what direction they wanted, so they hire this director and these writers to do their thing, and then they tell them after, no, we're going to restrict you, and here's how we want it. It's just like, if you told them from the beginning, do it this way, then it would have been done X way, Also, the idea of having to really kind of be low budget, quote unquote. It's funny because, 100-something million to us is not low budget at all. But for one of these movies, it kind of is, especially for the fact that they only used a few sets in the entire fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like, this movie really could have been a TV special. Not in terms of budget, but in terms of only using the same set. It really could have been a TV special for the new Fantastic Four television show.
Why are you giving them ideas?
No. Again, too much money.
You underestimate them.
I guess I do. So yeah, and again, let's talk about some more Doom stuff going on here because we kind of dropped in the beginning. We made some jokes and we dropped it. Yeah, look. Doom was as arrogant as he needed to be. He was missing an accent again.
Yeah.
And frankly, I know he cleaned himself up later, but I still feel like he didn't have the quote-unquote looks. Now, is the actor good-looking? Yes. But is he Doom good-looking? No. There's a certain kind of Doom good-looking that you need to have. Like, the first actor had it, I think. That suaveness. That I feel like this Doom did not have. He was just... Absolutely. Also, it feels like they were trying to make him seem like this, hacker, tech, elite genius because someone thought that would make him more cool and relatable or something, which again is dumb because it's like, but why do you want him to be relatable to the teenagers who are on the internet? Do you want him to seem dumb and like, oh, he's stupid, he's just some guy on the internet? Because that's everyone now. So you really made Doom look like a good guy at some points.
Now, you mentioned the guy not looking like Doom. Do you have an ideal cast that you'd like for Doom, or you just... It's funny.
No, it's funny. Thanks, Matt. Don't name any fucking solutions. But when I think of Doom, I remember the Doom from the animated series, not Doom's animated series, so that would be great. No, the Spider-Man animated series, who he had, he had long, it's funny, not long like my long, as in not long like Rob Zombie long hair, but he still had some really nice curly brown hair.
Yeah.
And he had this accent to him, these accent to him. It was just Doom, and it was a bit smoother than me. But still, I really loved it. And I was like, oh, wow, cool. So in my head, I was like, that's Dr. Doom under the mask. So it's very hard to live up, to that for me. But, right, in the last movie, even though I was like, okay, he doesn't really have an accent, right? In the last two films, I saw that Doom, and I was like, honestly, you're doing a good job, man. You look the part. You look suave. You have this this debonairness about you, and you're also a fucking dick, which is very essential to being Doom. You have to be a dick, and you have to be outright with it, but you can't be stupid with it. Where it felt like something about Doom doing what he did to Reed felt like a bit too much. Even though I sat there and I'm like, but it's Doom. How is it too much for Doom? Like when he called him over there, and he was like, hey, all right, supposed to be working down here, okay? even that, I don't know, it felt too much. Like, something about it was like, hey, you're supposed to be working down here. Also, I'm going to slap you right now. What? Slaps him? I challenge you to a duel. Like, that seems like Doom. But, like, I don't know, something about it was just very much like, I think they were trying to go for teenage drama, which obviously is bad because, like, they're teenagers in the sense of, like, oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. Everyone there is a teenager, technically, 18, 19, 20, maybe 17, for some, right? So, not 20, obviously, 17, 18, 19. But except for fucking Doom, who seems to be in his late 20s, unless I'm wrong, you know, we had Sue and Johnny's dad say, oh, no, you know, this guy's been working on this for 10 years. And I'm like, wait, what? How old are you? And they never addressed how old he was, by the way. They just said he's been working on it for 10 years. But we don't know how old Doom is. That's the biggest issue, I think. We don't know their ages directly. Also, another thing, I might have missed it. Did they directly say that Sue is daughter of the Doctor?
I think so.
Okay. The reason why I asked this is because... what?
I think they mentioned it, like, when they first got to the lab or something like that.
Okay, cool. No, I only mention it because, like, for some reason it didn't pick up on me that they were related until it was just like Johnny gets a call from Dad, and I'm like, yes, of course, Johnny's related to her, and then that's the Dad. Okay. But then I sat back and thought, did they actually even mention it? Because it felt like it wasn't, like, really hit home. Like, yes, she is my daughter, and he is my father, and yes, and we are working here together, father-daughter team. Yeah. I do think that Johnny was cast well, though. I'm actually kind of happy he wasn't doing quips every 5 seconds. Though I do think he needed some more. But I'm happy they weren't every 5 seconds, and I do think they did the character well, especially starting him off with a racing scene. I do think that his character was portrayed accurately, like as Johnny would kind of speak. So it really did feel like he was, I guess, maybe the best one portrayed, even though nothing wrong with Ben, just Ben was a bit too young.
Yeah.
Like, it's just really weird to me to think, like, Ben will be turned back potentially one day, and he'll just be some tiny little old guy. Seriously, though, because, like, he'll be older, but it's not like he's going to grow, like, X amount. Like, it was a weird kind of transition between, like I said earlier, you know, this idea that, like, Ben just felt really scrawny. Like, he could take you in a fight, which is good. You do need Ben to be able to take you in a fight, but just very scrawny.
Yeah. Also, one thing I actually forgot to mention regarding Victor Von Doom earlier.
Oh, please.
Were you aware of what his name was actually going to be before the reshoots?
For fuck's fuck, what was his name going to be? Doom Von Doom?
Victor Dolmashev.
For what? Stop fucking with me. What was his name going to be?
Victor Dolmashev.
My question is this, right?
I don't understand why.
I got to be honest. Better than Von Doom. I think we mentioned it, like, as much as I love Victor Von Doom, it makes you seriously sit back and go, so this is going to be the villain, right? Let's be real here. Let's be real. Doom likes Sue, which I think was normal. I was like, all right, that's normal. What's also a new norm, apparently, is bringing the asshole onto the team, even though you know there's a chance he'll betray you.
Yep.
That's new. Thankfully, they didn't give him the actual chance to betray them in the sense that he was left in that universe. So at least they didn't give him the chance to do that. But for a second, I was like, you're really doing this again, 2 movies in a row? I know they're not the same continuity, but did you think we just fucking forget? Also, this, I think, was the... Okay, so I like the whole, like, oh, fantastic, right? We're fantastic. That was cute, and I liked that. But I think it was really, like, frustrating to have them basically sit there and just go, oh, you know, what was it, Dr. Doom over here.
Yes, thank you. I forgot about that.
I just sat back, and I was just like, are you fucking serious? Because, like, here's the thing, right? You want to make that sound, like, first off, the actress, she did the best with it. She's wonderful. I want to give her a handshake just for that. They're going to be like, you had to go through so much. Right? But I was so happy with the way she played that scene off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but at the same time, it's like I'm sitting there and I'm going, look, the most appropriate thing that could have been said was like, oh, Mr. Doom, you know, oh, Mr. Doom over here, because that's what you call someone. Like, and I guess technically it's like, no, Victor has a doctorate, so you would call him, oh, Dr. Doom over here. But I don't know, it just felt like it was just like it was supposed to be one of those things where it's just, you know, oh, you know, you're a real Fantastic Four, ha ha, oh, it's so fucking funny. Like, look, you've seen Superman, Batman, Dawn of Justice, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for anyone here, right?
Okay.
But can you just tell me, because you saw it in the red carpet premiere, so no spoilers at all, but can you please just confirm for me? Like, Luthor didn't fucking sit there and go, it's a real Superman v. Batman, Dawn of Justice, ha!
No, not at all. There was one time where it got scarily close, though.
Was it during the handshake scene?
No, but I remember sitting there
okay.
like, please. No, he was saying something. I'm like, please, no, don't go there. Don't. You're doing fine. Just don't.
Mind you, it's funny, too, because he's the kind of character that would totally do that, actually, though. Like, he's such a fucking fanboy, at least from the trailers. But, but yeah, I mean, it was just so, like, fucking nauseating. Just, you know, like, just, wow, you're a real Amazing Spider-Man, too, ha! What was the second movie called? Was there actually a tagline for it, or was it just Amazing Spider-Man 2?
It was just Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Damn it! I wish there was something. Oh my God! Yeah, no, it's just, good God, it's a real Dark Knight Rises in here, huh? Like, we can do this all fucking night, and it's just horrible almost each and every fucking time. Very rarely does that happen, and you're like, oh, you know, very rarely. And this was one of those situations where it was just like, for fuck's sakes. You know? Anyway, so, you know, we're going to have to wrap up the show soon. We want to thank you all for listening in with our fucking nerd rage. And, yeah. Nerd rage. By the way, no, we have to talk about Johnny a little bit more. So I think, remember how I said I thought Johnny was characterized well? It was, again, he was done well, but like I said even earlier, the idea of how he talked to people was weird because we had not experienced their potential camaraderie or, like, someone being a dick to, let's say, Johnny before, right? So even though he, you know, like, look, we all know Dr. Doom eventually going to become the guy that rules over Latveria. Makes sense.
Yeah.
What Johnny doesn't know that, though. So no matter how much of a dick that someone's going to be to you, the second, like, one of the first interactions you see on camera with the two of them is Johnny going, hey, Adolf. I was like, look, if this happened in a potential sequel and Doom was, like, running everything, I'd be like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Right? But no one knows that yet. Doom's just an asshole, and I think I mentioned to you, I mentioned to you guys earlier, in the other script, right, we would have had Latveria being around. So, like, he would have had some potential ties to Latveria, but we didn't have a Latveria in this film. So it was just really fucked up that you're just talking to someone and you're just like, hey, Adolf, and he's like, I'm not German, and also you're sitting there and he's like, and you didn't commit genocide yet. Like, look, he's a bad character eventually, but we're not there yet. Like, it was just really fucking off-putting. Again, family film. Really fucking off-putting. But I just want to comb through if there's anything else. I think we really covered everything else. Did we see footage of them being mutated in the negative zone in the trailer? Or was I wrong? Like, I thought we saw that because when they transformed in the film, I was like, wait, this isn't how it happened in the trailer.
I don't remember the trailers too well, but that does sound familiar-ish. Okay.
And of course, as everyone knows, I don't think we have to really point this out, the ending was fucking rushed. Oh, joy. Yeah, right? Like, And it was so weird because it was like at that moment they wanted it to be a feel-good movie, and it was like, no, you had some horror, like so not even like horror as in like horrible, no, like some scary shit going down earlier in this film, and now you're like, let's work together, guys, yay! Fantastic Four comes together to save the day. Remember when Reed was being experimented on? Fantastic Four comes together. Doom just killed their dad. Doom just killed their dad. Yeah. Their dad just died. Didn't really get to process that, did you? No, now. This will definitely make a sequel. The series will never be canceled. Oh my God! Like now, fucking Fantastic Four, and it sucks too because like the fucking comic was canceled because of this. So you wonder, was it canceled because they sat back and thought, oh, you know, we don't want to be associated with this movie because we don't want our comic to give them any positive press, or was it flipped? We know what's coming because we have people on the inside. We don't want that shit associated with us.
Shut this shit down now.
Like, at first we thought it was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have it now, after knowing everything, do you think maybe it was a little bit of the second one?
It's become a lot more apparent as to why they did it now.
Yeah. Oh, my God. So literally there's no Fantastic Four anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, thank you, Fox. Thank you so much. Please, make more. Please. You're doing so well.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting progressively worse from each one. But anyway, we're done here. We want to thank you all for listening in. Just want to quickly mention that, you know, we have a bunch of different ways that you can listen to our podcasts. Before I even mention that, I want to mention that we have ourselves a merchandise page on cafepress.com/TGOTR merchandise. Get our merchandise from there, from our podcast and our Let's Plays. What Let's Plays? We'll talk about that in a moment. We have ourselves our main website where you can find our podcasts, which is thoseguysontherradio.tumblr.com, our Facebook, which is /thoseguysontherradio, our Instagram, which is also /thoseguysontherradio, and our Twitter, which is @thoseguysradio. We could also be found on iTunes by searching up Those Guys Radio, and on YouTube by searching up Those Guys on the Radio. Now back to our Let's Plays. What Let's Plays? Yes. Both Anthony and I have done a bunch of episodes, well, only 2 so far, but one hasn't been released yet, for our series called Those Guys Play, where I've played with a bunch of our other podcast hosts as well, and we have Season 2, you know, being released right now. Both Anthony and I have played Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects, and some more stuff to come out soon. Also, my own series called Matt Beats Games from His Childhood, where currently I'm beating Mega Man X, and some other ones on the way. Also, we have ourselves TG News, which you can find through our different social media accounts that we put on our YouTube channel, TG Productions. TG News is a weekly nerd news show, and it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, so as of right now, those are all the things that we do. And again, cafepress.com/TGOTR merchandise. Gotta sell some merch. Yeah. So we're at the end of this show. I assume you have nothing left to say, or nothing. You don't want to do this anymore.
I just want to let everybody know that I'll be changing my name legally to my last name to Domashov legally.
Really?
Yeah.
Please do it. Okay.
I love it. It's so fucking perfect.
Right. I'm just changing my name because Matt Marrero sounds a bit too much like something Stan Lee concocted. In the 1970s, we love you, Stan, coke-induced mellow. I don't want to say rage because I can't imagine him angry. I can just imagine him mellow.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we would like to thank you all, and good night, and say, you know, another Friday Night Movies podcast over and done with, and we don't know what's coming next week because the future may be interesting. It will be very interesting. But again, you can find out through our social media pages. Mystery. So good night, everyone, and say good night, Anthony.
Good night, everybody.